Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the Gnarly Gnome. This is the Weekly Pint. It's the show that is not a show. It's a happy hour. If you just stumbled upon this, congrats to you. You stumbled upon the greatest way to spend a Monday evening. I feel confident in saying that, especially outside of football season. There's no better way that you can spend a Monday night than right here on a live show with all of us, drinking something, probably something weird. Actually, I think everything's pretty normal. Well, we could go weird if we want to. I do still have something in the bucket of misery. I don't even remember what it is, but that probably needs ice because it's been sitting in a bucket of misery for like 6 months. So it's probably warm and gross. Although it's kind of cold in the basement, it might be chilled. I don't know. We're probably not going to the bucket, but I might have weird things in the fridge. I don't know. I actually don't know where we're going to go because that's the fun of the show. It is, since it's a happy hour, it's kind of to the whim of all of us. If you decide that you want me to drink something else, all you have to do is shout loud enough in the chat. And you have to put exclamation points, and I will drink whatever you tell me to drink pretty much. Sort of. I won't do that. If you're listening to this via the podcast feed afterwards, you're doing it wrong. You should be listening live on Mondays because it's more fun. If you're watching the video afterwards via YouTube or Facebook, you're doing that wrong. You should watch live. But thank you anyways. Yeah, I think that covers all the bases. Jump on the chat and tell us what it is you're drinking because it's a happy hour, and happy hours require some kind of drink. You can drink whatever you want. You could crack open a Liquid Death. That's my favorite sparkling water. Just the plain black can Liquid Death. That's my go-to. No. I stand corrected. I went through an entire 6-pack of this already because it was so good. I found Liquid Death now has a pina colada. It's called Pina Colada because Liquid Death, kill, it's fun. Killing is not fun. We do not support killing. Do not kick me off of whatever your streaming platform is. It's one of their like soda series of Liquid Death. I guess they replicate these soda flavors, and they are so good. Just so freaking good. Let's see. What's everybody drinking? Let's see. Brett's jumping on from YouTube. Thank you. Josh having Sierra Nevada West Ghost. Julia says, what up, chat? That's what the young people say. Having a Hoppin' Frog Pentuple, a Belgian-style strong ale. Chris is having a Harp Lager. I can't tell you the last time I had a Harp Lager, and now it makes me want one. Let's see. Brett says that the West Coast is great. It isn't cheap, though. I don't know that I've had that. And now I'm missing out on that one, too. See, now, this is the problem with a happy hour, is that I just want to drink all the things that you're drinking. I have an empty glass. Eric is having Allagash White. I had some Allagash White the other night, and I love that beer. And I would say that I keep forgetting how good it is, but I think I've got it pretty well in my head now, how great that beer is, and I'm drinking it whenever I get the chance. And I believe it is still on tap right now at Higher Gravity because I had it last week. Hopefully it's still on tap. Let's see. Zach is drinking low-lev beers. Isa. I don't even know what that is. Ryan is having a Citra High from Mad Tree. Also a good choice. As I mentioned, empty glass. Empty glass is a very depressing sight. We're going to fix that. If you haven't been on the show for a while, or if you're new to the show, I'm in the middle of something that we're calling the Rumination. I am obsessing over rum. I have started making some content around rum that you guys haven't seen yet. I have a short video that's about to post that is kind of about rum, but not really about rum. It's not even close to being about rum, but it's got a rum name. You'll see. And then that leads into a longer video that is about kind of, I don't want to spoil it, but it's bringing together a few loves of my life right now. One of them rum, and kind of starts from the very beginning and lays some kind of a foundation for rum cocktails, and we'll leave it at that. And I have other stuff that we're going to make cocktails with, from rum cocktails with, and that's going to be fun. And we're gonna get into history, and you're gonna have all kinds of podcast episodes and all kinds of stuff. Stuff. I'm always making stuff. But I have a new rum tonight to drink. It's not even new. This is I keep joking that I keep finding, not even a joke. I keep telling you that I keep finding these bottles of rum around the house, and I do. And I mentioned last week that I found that bottle of Pirate in my office on a bookshelf. During that conversation, I also mentioned that I happened to see a bottle of rum upstairs that I didn't know we had in the house. We have. This is gonna make us sound like drunks in this house. Just prepare yourselves. So we have the bar down here. We have a bar in the middle of the basement. That's the main bar of the house. There's some fridges behind it and lots of booze, and that's awesome. Over kind of on the other side, closer to my office, there's what I call the original bar. It's a kind of like maybe a 5-foot long table that I converted into a bar when when I first got my first apartment. In the living room, I built this little bar out of this table. That still is here in the basement. That holds overflow booze. Down here, I just have a shelf that I put overflow booze. And then overflow booze just gets stashed wherever I can find a space in the basement. Upstairs, like in the up world where the civilized people live, we've built this other little bar, kind of unintentionally, in our dining room that holds all of the stuff that my wife wants to drink because she doesn't like coming to the basement. I don't know if it's a spider thing, if it's a cold air thing, or if it's just a me thing, but she doesn't come down here very much. Zach just typed a paragraph that it's going to take me a minute to read. I say all this about the bars in the house because that's where my wife typically keeps her booze. I keep a couple bottles up there of things that I just want to have on hand if I just want to grab something to drink real quick while I'm cooking dinner or something. But the booze that is hers stays there. That's stuff that I'm not really supposed to drink. She gets mad when I drink it because I think I drink heavier than she does, than she likes, because I drink all of her booze. This is where that was, and I took it. And she told me like 42 times as I was walking down the stairs that this is her bottle of rum, and I'm not supposed to drink the whole bottle of rum. And that's troubling me because it seems like a challenge. It seems like something that she's saying I'm not supposed to do, but it would be funny if I did. And I just put it back, or I filled it with water or something, and then she went to drink it, and it was like the teenagers stole the booze. Like I think that's funny, and so I might drink a whole bottle of rum tonight. I don't know. Zach says, "Can we all acknowledge that Blake Longfellow's podcast with Loose Ends covering glizzies and fizzies this Saturday was an excellent episode with all these people representing the breweries from out of state. No, we better cover with Marco and Julia on Truth Beer tomorrow. I know it's not a Cincy-based one." But a lot of what these brewers and people work for them came with great things to say. The craft beer community means to them. I will not be recording with Marco and Julia tomorrow because tomorrow is a holiday, a monthly holiday. And you guys should all know this by now. It should be on your calendar. Tomorrow is Gulch Night. Yeah, so I'm not recording with them tomorrow. I'm sure they'll talk about it a little bit. They'll probably at least mention it. It depends how many other pieces of content they have to cover. Okay. I talk about the rum. This is the rum. This is Hard Truth toasted coconut rum. And I have gripes about this rum, but I also have plenty of compliments about this rum. I've drank this rum many times. I think part of the reason that she was concerned as I carried this rum downstairs to this show is that the last time she had a bottle of this rum, it was warm outside. It was this beautiful warm day, and we were sitting outside and we were smoking cigars, and this goes really good with cigars. We drank the whole bottle of rum. We drank every drop of it, and it was definitely hers from her bar, from her shelf. But we put it in a cooler, like it was on ice, and it was chilled, and it was so good that we drank the whole thing. So that could be why she's concerned. Fair enough. Hard Truth, toasted coconut rum. If you have never been to Hard Truth, it's a distillery out in Brown County, Indiana. Good little spot. All right, we're going to get some of this in the glass before we talk about it. Do not drink the whole bottle. Do not drink the whole bottle. Don't drink the whole bottle. Okay, that's not the whole bottle. Right? Can I, like, edit the show as I go so that if she happens to pull it up in, like, an hour, she can't see how much of her rum that I drink? Zach says, Low Lev Beer is a newer brewery out of Pittsburgh. It's been hitting distro starting around the spring. Maybe sooner. They're making excellent IPAs. Nice to know. Okay, this is toasted coconut rum. Now, the first thing that I have to say about this is it's only 42 proof. And I say only because sometimes when I'm looking for rum, I'm looking for something that's got a little more personality to it, let's say. A little more booziness. This is way lower than a typical rum that I would put in the house. It is, what does it say on here? Rum with natural flavors. I like my flavors natural. 42 proof. Okay, there's a nice little description on the back for me. It's actually, let me pull up my notes too here. Okay. It says Hard Truth toasted coconut rum pairs the deep, rich flavor of house-toasted flaked coconut with cane sugar and natural sea salt for a balanced and versatile spirit. This rum is easy to drink alone, perfect over crushed ice with a squeeze of lime, or the tropical twist that makes yours the best tiki drink on the block. And they've got a whole little thing about Hard Truth on here. And that's it. Yeah. The good thing about this, you can find it in places that you wouldn't typically find booze because it's low enough proof. You can get this. So I shop a lot of Jungle Gyms. You can get this at Jungle Gyms just on the regular shelf. You don't have to go in the liquor store. It's just sitting out there, right by the wine. Okay. All right. Let's get in here and drink this. It's not much to look at because it's just like a white rum. It's just white. A little thicker than water, but it just looks like water. All right. Oh, there. Oh, it smells so good. Typically I would want something with a little more booze to it, but this, it doesn't smell like right off the bat of coconut to me. It smells like kind of like salted caramel, which I think is awesome. Brett says, how's it compare to Planeray coconut rum? Easily the best coconut rum I've ever had. Haven't tried the Hard Truth yet. I haven't tried the Planeray. All I've had is their pineapple and then some kind of regular rum that they have regular. It's like it's an aged rum. I haven't had their coconut. This is the problem with this whole rummening thing. I keep thinking that I'm gonna like break away from tasting new rums on the show every show, but then I keep realizing there's all these other rums that I need to try. So maybe next week, a Plantaray coconut rum. I was never a coconut rum drinker. I never really liked it, but that was because it was all just like Malibu. Maybe that's what I should have done tonight, is gotten a bunch of coconut rum out from the overflow bar and tried them all next to each other. Maybe that's next week. Okay. Julia says, sounds like you two need to meet up for a run date. Then she corrected herself. She meant rum date because she knows that I don't run. That's right. I don't run. Running is dangerous. It smell, yeah, like, I mean, there's coconut there, but it's salted caramel is what I get, which I don't understand why, but I do. All right, cheers. Prost. R. What do you say for rum? I don't know. R. I don't think any pirate would be drinking this. Oh, that's so good. I love it. Like it's so like thick, like it's like a nice like syrupy, sweet, caramely, coconutty. It doesn't taste like it's a rum to me. It tastes like some kind of a weird cocktail or some kind of some kind of other beverage. I don't even know what it is, but it doesn't taste like it's just rum. It tastes like you're drinking something that was prepped for you. And I think I love that. You can drink so much of it. Ryan says, in my younger days, I would mix coconut rum with Mountain Dew. I'm kind of curious to try that. That might be good. My wife was a rum and Diet Coke drinker, coconut rum and Diet Coke. That was what she drank when she was in college a lot. That is not my thing. Zach says, speaking of rum, I have a Captain Morgan pumpkin flavor bottle in my basement that was gifted for my wedding in 2018. Maybe I need to drink it with you. I would love to try that. I remember seeing those bottles. I believe that I tried it at some point, like a smaller bottle of it, like the little taster size. But I don't think I ever really kind of dove into it. They had a couple of those Captain Morgan flavors that they did, the rum blast or something like that they called them. Yeah, respect my drinking establishments. Will never do anything that would cause them to lose their liquor licenses. Absolutely not. I would never, ever go anywhere and cook hot dogs in their dishwasher. Ever. Because that's definitely probably not allowed. I wouldn't do that. Josh says, I could see rum being good with Baja Blast Dew. Let's be honest here. There's not many things that are not made better by a little bit of rum. And I will stand by that. Most things in life just only improve with a little bit of rum. We were on the way somewhere this weekend, and I usually buy, when I go grocery shopping, I usually come back with half groceries and half just different beverages. I'm always just buying weird beverages because drinks are my thing. And when you go to Jungle Gyms and you like venture into the international department, you can always find something new. Like there's just drinks like stashed on shelves that I don't think were there before, that are new to me. So I grab them always, and I always bring them home. And one of them was this what I thought was going to be some kind of orange soda from some kind of Hispanic country. I don't actually know which shelf I got it off of, and I can't read anything on it, so it didn't help me. But it was bright orange colored, which I think looks tasty. I like bright colors in my flavors. Somebody can quote me on that. And I threw it in the fridge, and then we were on the way somewhere, so I grabbed it out of the fridge, and I'm like, I'm going to drink me this bright orange tasty soda. It's hot outside. Can't wait. Got in the car, cracked it open, like a glass bottle too, like a little stubby glass bottle. It was great. Opened it up and took a big swig, and it's just like juice. There was like no carbonation, no soda, anything. It was just like this. Those little like hugs, like the jugs, whatever they're called, those little plastic drinks that taste like garbage, like absolute garbage. That's what it tasted like. It was fine, but it was like, as we're driving and as I'm working my way through this tiny little stubby bottle of sadness, I told my wife, I said, it's okay, but like, it would make it better. She looked at me and she said, some rum? Absolutely. Some rum would make this better. Rum makes everything better. Let's see. Blake is jumping on, says, having a Revolution double barrel straight jacket barley wine. Woo. I think I have one of those in the fridge still, from a while back. Like it's pretty old. I have a decent amount of barley wines. I think a couple weeks ago I was talking about the status of my beer cellar. Julia says, hugs, not jugs. Certainly sounds like sadness to me. I think I've told Julia and Marco this at some point. Somewhere, and it's in this basement somewhere, I recorded, I wouldn't call it an album, but it is a series of rap songs, like raps, like rap, like hip-hop songs. I started one as a joke, and then loved it so much that I made like 3 or 4 of them. And one of those songs is called Hugs Not Drugs. That's the name of the song. So You can write that down somewhere and remember when when it's on iTunes or something. You can find it. Let's see. Zach says, drink the barley wine tonight. I don't even know where it is. I don't know what fridge it's in. I don't know if it's in a fridge or if it's in the cellar. I'm not drinking a warm barley wine. Okay, I'm gonna finish this rum so I can open a beer though, because I do have a beer sitting right here on the chair. So I got to figure this out one of these days. I put this table here. I put this table together for doing live streams. This is the studio. Like, this is where I keep all of like my work stuff, and like this is supposed to be some kind of functional space. Now it's just for streaming. And instead of like building this table the proper way with like some kind of little table right here, I scoot a chair, and there's just this chair sitting here that I throw things on when I'm trying to make a drink. Well, you should see it when I'm making cocktails. It's covered in like citrus and bottles of booze and all kinds of stuff. One of these days I got to get this thing figured out. Okay. Blake says it's this year's version from my trip a couple weeks ago. Mine is definitely not. Mine is probably from at least 2020. It was probably before that even. Do they date them? Is there a date on them? It's in a can, so it's not that old, but it's Eric says a green room for your beer. I did have, now I'm distracted again. I did have that kind of idea too. I wanted to build, so this wall here, this is where the steps come down to the basement. I don't know this has got to be pretty close to the bottom, so it's probably down to there. But somewhere here, I could cut like a hole in the wall and build like a green room for my beer. And I had this idea that I wanted to build this little thing. And if I shifted this way a little bit more, I could make it work. But where when I'm getting ready to have a drink, instead of sometimes you'll see bottles sitting back here, sometimes I keep them over here. But I had this idea for like this little box of booze. And when I'm getting ready to have a drink, I can open up a little door and like smoke comes out, and in there is whatever I'm drinking, this mystery beer or booze or whatever it is. And it would be awesome. But I can't figure out the logistics with placement on it and to make it make sense. Again, with the way things are set up right now. Maybe one of these days. Eventually I got to finish this wall. This is not supposed to be what that wall looks like. It's supposed to have all kinds of other stuff, but it's just haven't had time. Jason Klein says, is Firestone Walker Double Barrel a top 10 beer? No, I wouldn't call it a top 10 beer. I would call it, it's a solid beer. So my new rating system that I've been using, so I used to do it on some kind of modified 100-point score, and I had this whole like different categories that I would score things in, and then it would spit out another score, and that was working great for a long time, but it also was just too complicated, and I found myself just not scoring beers a lot. And for me, for the nerdy side of me, I like having the score just in my notes. I don't publish it anywhere usually. I've switched my scoring method within the last like 6 months to I think I've got it on a 7-point score right now. Let me look. I've been kind of tweaking it a little bit and trying to figure out what I like the most. What would be something that I drank recently? Ooh, I know. Let's see. The whole, we're already going down so many stupid rabbit holes here. The problem with my notes is that I've been like, I have a really kind of crazy note system that I use for everything in my life. And so I'm just trying to find a way to get the way I score things to be equal amongst everything that I do score in my notes, if that makes sense. So like if I watch a movie, like I make a note about the movie, I write my thoughts about the movie, I take notes on it. And then I lost a light. That means this one's probably going to go too. It means I didn't charge them. And the so I score everything. So I was trying to find some kind of scoring method that made sense for all of the things. Hang on, let me get a cord. And so I came up with this 7-point score, which seems to be working pretty good. All right. You think this will reach? Well, sort of. Not really. That's fine. That's fine. One of these is just more moody. I'm just very moody. Now this one won't go out. The main one is plugged into the wall. These other two lights, for whatever reason, I've just never set them up to plug them in. The ones in the back are plugged in now, so yeah, whatever. I'll figure it out one of these days. Zach wants to know where Marco is. Marco is probably working. Let's see. Jason says, how many people call in? How many people call the drunk line? Not many. Usually just a couple. Marco calls in every once in a while. Zach calls in every once in a while. That's really about it. You're more than welcome to call in if you have thoughts, which we should probably get into a topic so that we can have thoughts about something. Let me finish my rum. I keep saying I'm going to finish my rum, and then I don't. Ooh, that's so good. There are things I have received your messages for people who have sent me messages about this topic that I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to talk about. I've been exploring something, investigating, if you want to call it that, a recent topic, and I've been hearing lots of rumors about it. And this weekend, I received no less than probably 4 or 5 different messages via either Instagram, Facebook messages, text messages, emails. Got another email today about it, and then got another text today that somebody has started talking about it somewhere online, and I got this screenshot of this place that this person is talking about it online, and they are telling this story that is not accurate, and I can't talk about it because in my investigatory process, I was asked not to talk about it. So if you're one of those people that sent me a message, no, I'm not talking about it because I was asked not to, and that's all I'll say. I've been gag ordered. I try to be respectful when people ask me not to talk about things. I even made a button for it. If somebody brings up topics from now on that I can't talk about, it's classified. That topic's been classified, and I can't talk about it. I should probably make this just really big, like a big stamp that goes right on the screen. Whatever. We'll talk about it soon. It's kind of getting out there, so you'll know about it if you don't already. It might not even be that exciting to you. That's good rum. I'm going to drink a beer. I'm going to open up a beer, and we're going to talk about beer. Julie says, is it why the hell are all the media sources using pictures of sunflower and talking about THC temporary unbanning for 10 companies when 50 West is not one of those companies? It's just confusing things even more. We'll get there. That is one of the topics for tonight. But first, I want to jump into the U.S. Open. Beer awards in general, maybe. But yeah, the U.S. Open. Because we had a whole bunch of awards come home via this year's competition. I know that some people are a little negative maybe about beer competitions in general. Some people are negative about specific beer competitions. I still love seeing our local breweries, win medals, no matter what kind of competition it's in. Jason says, I'm headed to Canada next week. I'm curious if they'll have any different or decent beers. American beer seems a bit ossified. All IPAs and pale ales. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot to unpack there. So I think that there is good beer in Canada. I don't know that for sure. I haven't been to Canada since I was a kid. I assume that there are some good craft breweries up there. I don't know that it's as dense as it is here in the United States, but I assume they also are making American craft beer styles somewhere. I would assume you can get a decent amount of American craft beer while you're up there. You have to let us know because now I'm curious. I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised that it's probably just about the same as it is here. Eric says picked up some Castalo yesterday. Zach says, what's your snack food going to be with your beer tonight? Gnome. Nothing while I'm on the show. It's hard enough drinking while you're trying to talk to people, but drinking and snacking, very difficult. After the show, whatever I have at the bar, there's probably some Slim Jims in the bathtub. I have a little bathtub that sits on the bar, and it usually has Slim Jims in it. I always have some pickles in the fridge. I'll probably have some pickles. And then I usually have some kind of tubular meat that I could throw on the hot dog roller, because there is a hot dog roller at the bar, if I'm feeling hungry. Okay, let me open up a beer. This is a beer that I don't know a lot about. Somebody's calling, though. Let's see. Hey, you're on the Weekly Pint. Who is this?
Hey, it's Chris.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I just did want to call in. I actually have a little information on craft breweries in Canada.
Oh, perfect.
My wife is from there, and all of my in-laws still live up there. They actually have a fairly good selection up there. It's obviously a lot smaller because the population's smaller, but I've had some really good stuff from there. My brother-in-law will send stuff, and we'll trade stuff back and forth. I'll probably see him next month and maybe do a little trade-off then too. We just don't get it here because the import laws are kind of a pain in the butt.
Right. Tariffs.
Or that too. I mean, even before that, because I think I reached out to Jungle Gyms once asking about it, and I said, yeah, we can get a few, but it's really just hard to get distribution to work. So
yeah, I mean, I've looked over the years periodically off and on at Jungle Gyms for Canadian beer, and there really wasn't much of anything at all. But at the same time, over the last 5 to or so years, the amount of just imported beer that you can get at any kind of store like that has shrunk dramatically from what it might have been at one time. So I don't know that that's a good representation of how much beer is actually up there. What is?
Yeah, I mean, where my brother-in-law lives, there's actually like 5, within 4 miles of his house. So.
And I do imagine it depends where in Canada you are. I imagine if you go to the Great White North, there's probably not as much as there is right along the border, but because Canada's pretty freaking big.
That's true, and I do actually. One of my friends who's one of the friends of all of the owners over at Grainworks. One of their guys, one of the guys they hung out with, actually, he opened up a brewery up in Yellowknife. So the Great White North did it.
Right.
This guy built this facility and actually brought him in for it. So I think he was there for like 2 years. It turned out to not work so well. I think he went somewhere else.
But it's up there. So there is beer up there.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Jason needs to report when he gets back.
I'm not sure which one it is. Yeah. I mean, I hope. I mean, I'm actually going up to. I'm going to stop in by New Holland. I'm going to Muskegon next week, so we're taking a trip through there. I'm going to stop through Holland. So I want to do a little tour when I'm up there as well. So.
Heck yeah!
So
perfect.
Grab some fresh, some fresh stuff and probably some bourbon as well.
Heck yeah!
Yep. All right. I'll let you go here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you that. So.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in and letting us know.
I think, man.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
So confirmed, there is beer in Canada. There is beer besides typical, stereotypical Canadian beer. This is not a Canadian beer. This is straight up Cincinnati in the heart of America. This is Rheingeist Expressionism. This is a tropical IPA. It says expressive notes of strawberry and banana layered on top of vibrant, bubblegummy pineapple and passion fruit aromas make this tropical IPA a bright and vivid liquid canvas. Go ahead, taste the art. I will, Rheingeist. I will taste the art. Okay, it's a clear beer. People can do it. See, you can make a clear beer. You can make a beautiful, brilliant beer. It doesn't have to be hazy. It smells a little soft though. Oh yes, the strawberry. Like it does smell like kind of like a beautiful strawberry hoppy aroma. That's nice. Very rarely do I find that I shouldn't say very rarely. Rarely, infrequently do I find that immediately when I read somebody's description of what hops smell like, is it what I get? But yeah, this is strawberry. And bubblegum, yeah. Like strawberry bubblegum. Oh, this is nice. I like this. All right. Cheers. Yeah, that's a good beer. It's definitely tropical, citrusy, berries, tons of berries. It's like a dessert, but it's soft. Like it's definitely kind of falls into that juicy kind of category that pretty much everything does. But it's pretty. It's clear. Okay, let's talk about awards really quick. We're already 40 minutes into this, and we haven't even gotten into the big news stories that I want to talk about. Cincinnati brought home 54 different medals in this year's U.S. Open. That's more from what I could tell in just like a quick looking through my notes than anybody has ever brought home from one city in this competition. Probably in any competition, unless it's a city competition. That is a ton of medals. And some of them I don't think are that surprising. Muzi obviously brings home a medal again, as it always does. It is the city's most award-winning beer by pretty far. Third Eye obviously won some medals. They took a grand champion because they won so many medals. They tied for the most medals won by any brewery ever in the competition. Maui did it back in, what was it, like 2000? No, early before that, 1990. They brought home 9. Let's see what else was interesting out of this. I was happy to see some of the smaller guys bring stuff. It was great to see Gravel Road with 3 of them. Darkness with 2 of them. Happy to see Little Kings bring one home. Jason says, did Glendale House ever have real ale? No. But Gravel Road does. Gravel Road is the only place locally that I know of that has actual real ale. And I know that that's debatable. There are lots of places that, I shouldn't say lots, there's a couple places that have beer engines, a couple places that are working on getting beer engines. But they are all still being done in kind of modern kegs and kind of a hybrid system. The only place that is doing actual real ale here in Cincinnati is Gravel Road. He has this little room under the bar, this little cellar that's where the casks of ale go, and it runs them up with a beer engine to the bar. Narrow Path Gilligan's, perfect examples of places that have beer engines, but it's a modified system. Gilligan's will use they'll do like firkins. Or at least they were. I don't know when the last time they did a firkin was, but it's not pulled with a beer engine. So there are places that are close. But if you are a real ale fan, Gravel Road is by far the place you need to go. Ryan says Dan's beer engine is broken right now. Okay. I stand corrected. Nobody's got it right now. That's also part of the problem of doing something like that. When stuff breaks or stuff goes wrong, getting parts to fix it is going to become a bit of an issue. Well, you should still go there. So I was happy to see that. Happy to see Little Kings bring home another medal. Little Kings is definitely the oldest medal winner on the list. They've been winning medals since the 80s, and I love that so much. A good, fresh, not skunked Little Kings is a thing of beauty, and I love that it's still being made here in town. Fabled brought home 4. They are starting to become definitely known for one of those kind of trendy medal-winning breweries. I think we'll see a lot more from them as far as competitions go in the future. A bunch more from Narrow Path. Shouldn't be a shocker to people. Nine Giant, same way. 3 more from Nine Giant, and they are under the radar. Sons of Toil with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 from Sons of Toil, which I love because there are still so many people that don't know about them out there in Mount Orab. So I like to see that. Urban with 3 of them. It's always fun to see Urban win, especially for some of the stuff that you don't see win a lot of medals. Astronaut food, their sake. Those are things that are hard to figure out a category for in a lot of competitions, and it makes me very happy to see it win some medals in something and let people kind of know some of the off the wall stuff that they're doing, which is the stuff that I really kind of appreciate. Julia says, not sure if Brett is still watching. I was both excited and curious about how sake winning in the specialty beer category. Is it a sake or a beer? Sake style fruit tart that slides into the beer sphere. Sake is beer. It is, I know a lot of people kind of bump it in with wine, but it's not. It is brewed like a beer. It is just the specific yeast and bacteria. I believe both are involved with sake. I could be wrong. I believe you use a bacteria first on rice to create fermentable sugar from the rice, and then you ferment that rice with a sake yeast. Somebody can correct me. I haven't done the sake-ing yet. We got to come up with a name for that because at some point I'm going to, because I love sake. Let's see. Chris says, when I met Dan at Gravel Road, I think it was possible he had my dad as a teacher where he grew up. That's fun. Julia says, I thought it was more on the wine spirit side of things. Thanks for the education. Yeah, most people do, but no, it's brewed like beer. Brett says sake is legally beer in the United States since it is made from grain. There you go. It is made from grain and fermented like a beer. Because whiskey is made from grain too, but it's not a beer. Just putting it out there. Okay. Let's move on so we can get to some of these stories before it gets to be like 2 a.m. Let's jump to this. Mad Tree, they are doing a fun little marketing stunt is what I'm going to call it. And it is a fun marketing stunt because I kind of think this is awesome. We talked 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. We talked about garage beer, and Jason says, what happened to Braxton at the Card Factory? The last beer I had was a diacetyl monster. You know what? I've heard from other I've gathered from other people that there might be some beers that they're producing that have diacetyl. I have not experienced that, but actually I just forgot about it until you just said that, so I haven't really looked for it. I do have the beer in question sitting upstairs in the garage fridge, and now that you mention it, I'll probably grab one later tonight and try it and see if there's any diacetyl. I have not experienced that with Braxton. At the same time, I have not been drinking a ton of Braxton beer lately, so I can't confirm nor deny that they are a diacetyl monster. I have a hard time believing that they would be. I have a really hard time. It doesn't seem like one of those things that if you're at all educated and paying attention to what you're doing, you would have diacetyl in your beer. Isn't there some kind of like enzyme you can just put in there now that'll eat it up, even if you don't want to let it sit properly? But at the same time, how are they not letting it sit properly? Like they can make a heck of a lager. I don't know. Jason says Keller beer. Yeah, I've definitely not had that one for a while. Normally great. Is it everything I try to come up with? It doesn't make sense. I would say, like sometimes maybe like a dirty line situation, but there's no way that Braxton's not cleaning their lines. There's no way they're not. I don't know. I don't know. I've heard a little bit about that though, but not that beer. Anyways, getting back to the boatload of Sway. A couple weeks ago, we talked about garage beer and a lot of kind of the marketing stunts that they've been doing lately, and how some of them are just absolutely brilliant, and how they are leaning really hard into kind of the branding of who they are and doing a great job with it. Madtree is clearly figuring out their own ways to do it. They are, and I'm going to word this very carefully, they are running a contest to give people the chance to buy. So you do have to buy this, but you have to win the chance to buy it. A boat of Sway. So it's an entire like a 9-foot 9-inch kayak. So a big old kayak filled with 336 cans of Sway. The cost, when you do win the chance to buy it, is $350. So it's like $1 a can. That's a good deal. Like that's $1 a can of Sway. Like that's a good price. So like it is like a fun little like competition if you're planning on drinking 336 cans of Sway this summer, which if I had a boat of Sway, I could definitely drink 336 cans of Sway. That would take me 45 minutes, but I could do it. But if you're having some kind of like a party or something, you have a bunch of people that you know are going to be over at some point this summer, or maybe you just plan a special party just to drink all the Sway that you want in your boat. I think it's great. I like people figuring out ways to connect with people, especially when they're on brand. I said years ago that it was shocking to me that places like Madtree, or at that time 50 West, hadn't figured out that they need to be like selling merch that makes more sense for who they are. At that time, everybody was doing the same stuff. You could get T-shirts and hats. If you were lucky, you could get like a dog leash or a dog collar or something from a brewery. Nobody had anything cool. Nobody had anything that was like stuff that like made sense for who they were. And the kayak was one of the things that I was joking about. I said somebody like Madtree or like 50 West needs to sell branded kayaks. I still believe that. I think Madtree should sell kayaks that are branded Madtree. I think they should sell like outdoor chairs, like nice, like there's those Parkit lawn chairs. Have you seen those? I call them lawn chairs because that's what they are. They look like old school lawn chairs, but they have a cooler underneath of them, and they have backpack straps, and they're great chairs. They're expensive, but they're great chairs. I'd buy a Madtree branded one. I would, in a heartbeat, buy a Madtree branded Parkit chair because it makes sense. It's like it fits like with their brand. I need more stuff like that. Chris says it's better than paying $150 for a chance to buy a $4,000 bottle of Eagle Rare. Yeah, definitely. Julia says if it was full of Lift or Ramble On, R.I.P., I'd be in. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of Sway. But if you're a Sway drinker, like I said, if you are going to have a bunch of people over that you know are going to be Sway drinkers, it might make sense. Let's touch on weed again. because we keep having to. Again, I talked about this a couple weeks ago. There was a injunction on the banning of hemp-derived THC products in Ohio, and 10 companies sued the state, I guess, that it was not constitutional and that it violated some kind of commerce clause. And we talked about all of that. I should say we all understood it. I don't think everybody understands it still. But this injunction, the judge said, yeah, I think they're onto something. Those 10 companies now are allowed to manufacture and sell. No, I gotta clarify here. That judge said those 10 companies had enough of a case that those 10 companies are now not able to be prosecuted for the things that are in Senate Bill 56. That's where it was at. That's still where it's at. There was an extension to that injunction. And for whatever reason now, I mean, I can tell you the reason. Because I think 50 West is probably a little miffed that they're not allowed to sell their product, that the company that might be sitting across from them on a shelf 6 months ago is now allowed to sell. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any logical sense. If there's an injunction that says these companies are onto something, it should be everybody. It should be, okay, everybody is now, for right now, immune to prosecution from this. That's my stance. And I think it's confusing for consumers when the news runs articles with pictures of 50 West on them and Sunflower. I think it's strange how the news is wording these articles right now, that that THC is legal again. I think it's strange that they jumped on it now instead of when the original injunction was put out there. I don't understand. I don't understand anything about what's going on with weed water and THC and the hemp industry in this state or this country. As of November, still, it will all become federally illegal, and that's a shame, in my opinion. I think that there is a road for THC to become a fourth big category. I'm talking like beer, wine, spirits, THC as this set of four. Brett says there were more than a couple companies that turned down the offer to be on the original lawsuit that was filed by the 10. And there was an interview that Bobby gave that he talked about that they were one of the ones that decided against being part of that original 10. I get that, and I get that there are companies that are paying legal teams to be part of this lawsuit. I understand that. I just don't like it. It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes sense. Julia says it's because of the combination of lazy reporting to try to be the first with the story, no matter how inaccurate, and that they don't understand and don't care to understand. Yeah, I think that there are some people that do care, but yeah, the idea of it's all about clicks and to be straight up with it. Ryan says the bartender at Jungle Jim's Eastgate on Sunday had no idea about the injunction or that places were selling THC beverages again. Yeah, there are still a lot of stores that don't know about it. There are a lot of stores that have not stopped selling THC products at all, even though they shouldn't be. I've seen things on shelves in Ohio that are not supposed to be on shelves in Ohio at places that should know better. It's very strange right now, and I don't think that any of this is making it better. I think it's making it a whole lot worse, and I don't know if maybe that's part of the point. I don't know. I don't want to dwell on this too long because we'll be talking about it again in a matter of weeks, if not earlier. The big thing that I want to, we're almost at an hour, and we're just getting to the topic that I really wanted to dive into today. That's the whole center of the show, and that is the contradictions and the confusion, the misinformation maybe about drinking in the current state of the industry. We'll say. I need a drink though. Eric says I had a sample pack from Triple Switch that are THC in non-alcoholic beers. It looked and smelled like an IPA, but weed. I think that's brilliant. I think that is a product that makes a ton of sense for me. Well, makes a ton of sense for me as a drinker, but I'm at the core of I love rum, I love cocktails, I love booze. At the core of who I am, though, I'm a beer drinker first, and so most of the time, I would still just prefer to have a beer, and I could see myself leaning towards a THC beer if it tasted like a beer over what has typically been the vehicle for a THC weed water currently. Josh says Cycling Frog THC mocktail margarita is a thing of beauty. I would like to try that. I don't know if I'm allowed to try it in Ohio. I still don't understand that either. We got to talk about the industry. So over the last years, it's probably been a couple years at this point that people have been again writing articles talking about creating these huge talking points that Gen Z doesn't drink. This is this industry that is they're this generation that's shaking up the industry. They just don't drink like the rest of us, and people throwing out all these statistics for literally years now about how Gen Z doesn't drink. They don't drink as much. And I've been every chance I get screaming at the top of my lungs that you guys are doing the math wrong. You're not paying attention to the fact that Gen Z is still a bunch of kids. And so you're not going to get an accurate sample of what Gen Z is drinking or is not drinking or wants or doesn't want because they're still too young. And nobody seems to listen to it. Everybody still writes the articles and still talks about it on the news. And they don't buy houses. It's all insane because we don't have that statistic yet. And we're now starting to see that maybe the gnome was right, that maybe you should have listened to the gnome. There's a study that just came out recently that gives us some actual data points that are starting to shift in the right direction. Currently, just the state of the industry. Spirit dollar sales are up 3.1%. Case sales are up 8.1%. Non-alcoholic beer, wine, and spirits have surpassed $1.01 billion in off-premise sales. That's up another 19.2%. It's growing like nobody really predicted that it would. Non-alcoholic beer, in fact, there's a fun statistic with that. 95% of non-alcoholic buyers are also buying and drinking alcohol. That's an important one to log away in your head. 95% of the people that drink non-alcoholic beer, wine and spirits, non-alcoholic traditional alcoholic products, are also drinking alcohol. This is the whole point of all of this, is that drinkers are not giving up on drinking. Their definition of drinking and how they drink and where they drink and what they drink is expanding far beyond what our generation was or the generations before us. We were like category drinkers. You had people that were beer drinkers, like probably most of us. We have beer drinkers, and you had whiskey drinkers, cocktail drinkers, wine drinkers, whatever it was. People drank that thing, and they stuck to it. Now, not only did they stick to that one thing, they stuck to specific brands in that one category. And that's not true anymore. And I don't know if it's because of craft beer and the slow food movement and all of these things that got us really interested in trying flavors and experiencing flavors, if that then kind of destroyed that model of category drinking, or if it's just a natural progression of things, that I don't know. But that's the way things are going, and Gen Z is no different in that. They are currently the model of that. They are drinking everything. So some of the popular categories are, on paper, shrinking from time to time because they're drinking somewhere else. That doesn't mean that they're going to stop drinking it. Doesn't mean they have stopped drinking it. They're just drinking other stuff too. And I think that is, there went my other light, that is being missed by so many people that are writing articles and talking about all of this stuff. I mean, we can go back to the data. That's over here. Let's see. In this study, 74% of legal drinking age respondents and Gen Z respondents reported drinking alcohol within the last 6 months. 74%, which is good. 3 years ago, that same generation, it was 66%. So we went in 3 years from 66% of that generation drinking in the last 6 months to now 74% drinking in the last 6 months. Do you know why? It's because they're a little bit older. What is the breakdown of ages in Gen Z? Do we know that? Let's look at this. What are Gen Z ages? Okay. Gen Z includes people that were born between 1997 and 2012. 1997, so 2007, 2017, they're almost 30 years old. The oldest people in Gen Z are still not 30 years old. These are people that are fresh out of college, that don't have high-paying jobs, that probably most of them still live with their parents. Of course, they're not drinking the same as everybody else. Look at how much money people we have right now. People don't have the same money that generations before them have. The numbers are not accurate. None of it's accurate. They are drinkers. I promise you they're drinkers. We've all been drinkers. For the entirety of civilization, people drink. And for the entirety of civilization, until we destroy it, we will still be drinking. It's ridiculous. The overall population. So what's the overall population? How many of them have drank in the last 6 months? 76%. So it's looking like Gen Z is drinking just about the same as everybody else. Surprise. They're the same as all of us. They just don't know how to communicate with each other. That's the only difference. Did Gen Z... let's see here. I'm trying to read my own notes. Yeah, just that they weren't old enough to measure their drinking. I said that notes. The important thing, so we aren't seeing the death of drinking. We're seeing the death of category loyalty. I talked about that. I think that we'll still see like quick pops of like trends and things like that will be really popular for a while and then it'll kind of fade out. I think that that's just kind of going to be the normal thing now, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but it's going to confuse a lot of companies as they try to jump into things and try to find what that next big thing is. It's fine. It's that's part of the new normal. Julia says he's telling me now, trying to read your own notes. I try not to like read notes while I'm doing it. I try to know what I'm going to talk about, but there's numbers and stuff. The big question here, like if you are a brewery or a bar or a distillery, if you're an alcohol provider, a drink provider in today's world, the question that you should be focused on is not like how do you attract Gen Z? It's how, like, when Gen Z is picking something to drink, how do you make yourself one of the places that they think of? That doesn't mean that you have to focus on everything, but you're going to have less people coming in your door if you don't. And if you're going to offer everything, how do you keep yourself top of mind through all of those things? Which is difficult from what I've been able to put together. It's difficult for everybody because a lot of people are doing it very poorly. Whether that's because they just don't get it and they're trying to make products that they have no business making, or if they're just not paying attention, I don't know. I hope it's just because I don't know. I don't know which I would prefer. I don't know. It's I mean, it's a weird time for drinks and for drink producers, but I don't think it's a surprising weird. Like, I feel like we should have seen this coming. Like, we created drinkers that just aren't afraid to try things. So of course we're going to keep trying things. Like, of course we're going to experiment with stuff. Like, the same amount of alcohol and drinks in general are going into us, but we're just drinking more of them. It seems extremely logical to me, but whatever. What do I know? I'm just a gnome, just a lawn ornament. Chris says the end times of capitalism isn't helping either. It may be. I mean, I definitely think that, like, the state of everybody's bank account is affecting, like, again, what we're drinking, how much we're able to spend. It's not even necessarily affecting how much we're able to spend on a percentage basis of how much money we have. But people are going to start drinking other cheap things. Like, we're going to start, like, drinking more cheap beer with our beer. We're going to start drinking more cheap wine with our wine. We're going to try to find cheap cocktails with our cocktails because we want to spend less money. That doesn't mean we're going to stop drinking beer. That doesn't make any sense, and it's not going to happen. It's just not. It isn't the way it works, and it never will be the way it works. People aren't going to stop eating cheeseburgers because they can't afford cheeseburgers. They're going to eat the cheap cheeseburgers. They're going to crave that cheap side of things. And if you can make a great cheap cheeseburger, you're going to do well right now. That's going to change at some point, hopefully. Guess I can't promise that. But if it does, if people start craving more expensive things and all you're making is cheap cheeseburgers, your business is going to suffer. You have to be able to adapt to those things. And it's no different than with alcohol. Chris says no more cheeseburgers. Sorry, yeah, Burger Week, wings. Wings are a bad example because they're just they're pretty much always about the same price no matter where you go. That's one of the great things about wings. They're not always cheap, and that's part of the problem, but it's a bad example. What's a good alternative to cheeseburgers? I don't know. French fries. French fries are way underrated as a drinking food. That reminds me of Just Frites when it was open in Listerman. I still think is one of the most brilliant restaurant concepts that was out there. Just Frites with burgers as a side. I think that's great. Chris says, I ended ranked 178 on the Burger Week app. That's fantastic. Congrats. Yeah, I had burgers, but not nearly as many as I probably should have for Burger Week. I didn't actually eat out that much. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm yawning, which means I need to get this show posted for all of the weirdos that are listening on podcast feeds. I told you earlier you're supposed to be listening live, and kick off another day tomorrow, Kolsch Night Day. Chris says McD wanted $3.19 for medium fries. Yeah, everything's a little expensive. It's it's the we're all dealing with the same thing, I guess. Is the only comforting part about it is that we're all in the same pain with with the state of all of that. All right, thanks for hanging out, guys. Look, I hope you know by now that I appreciate all of you so much for being part of the Weekly Pint. This was never supposed to become an actual show, and it's not a show, of course. But it is only what it is because of people like you that hang out and make it this way, and I appreciate that more than I can put into words. Especially all of you who support over on Patreon at thegnarlygnome.com/support. I appreciate you very, very much. You are the glue that holds it all together, the rocket fuel that propels it along the path into orbit. I don't know. This is fun, and I think that that's the way all of these shows are supposed to be. Is fun first, and I appreciate that you guys are helping make it that way. Sorry there was no new podcast this week. Cincy Brewcast, there was supposed to be a Cincy Brewcast. I'm recording one soon, and it'll probably, I shouldn't say probably, it'll be up next week. So next week will be an episode of Cincy Brewcast, not the episode that I was going to post this week. That one will be, I'll move that for 2 weeks. So next week will be Cincy Brewcast on Monday. The following week will be an episode of Drinking with the Gnome. Then after that, episode of Cincy Brewcast. So we're getting on the every other week schedule. It's rocky. It's a rocky start to the schedule. I apologize for that. Let's see. Chris says, I think I'll be at Northern Row tomorrow night. Perfect. Eric says, I forgot. Hamilton on Wednesday at Municipal. History of how it became Little Chicago. I love that. That would be fun. How beer set the table for Little Chicago. Ooh, that's fantastic. Yeah, Hamilton's got a fun history as far as drinking goes. I don't know how much of it is real and how much of it is just stories, but it's got a fun history. Ryan says, Matt and I will be at Little Miami on Wednesday if anybody wants to hang out after we do some filming. See, now he has to specify after, because some people try to get in on the camera when they're recording and they're not on the video. Some people just like the attention, and not naming names. Probably the same people that take their pants off when they are recording interviews. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Get out there, make some content. Look, if you're a beer drinker and you haven't been making some kind of content online about beer, just do it. Make a video, just one. Just like get on there and make a video like you drinking a beer or talking about a beer or telling a story about a beer and post it somewhere so that we can watch it, because there's not nearly enough of that happening right now in Cincinnati. That is a hill that I will die on, is that for the size of Cincinnati and for the quality of our beer scene, there's not enough people out there like just putting out fun content about the beer. Not about drinking in general. Make one about a cocktail. I don't care. You do you. Do whatever you want. It is a free country, and when you are a lawn ornament, you get to make rules that other people don't get to make. And I'm making a rule that says that. I don't actually think I get to make any rules. I don't think there's any kind of lawn ornament like, I don't know, consortium that has determined that I can do anything special. That's not true. I'm ordained. I'm ordained in the Church of Nome. That's not a lie. I'm a ordained minister in the Church of Nome. Look it up. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much. I can legally wear a gnome hat in my driver's license photo. I wanted to the last time, and my wife told me I wasn't allowed. But legally, I am allowed. Maybe next time. Somebody will have to distract my wife.